Wrestling Jeopardy! And now, here is your host, Kevin J. Callis!
Is your wrestling trivia knowledge main event material or mid-card at best?
I don't know!
Well, let's find out, shall we? Because this is the one and only interactive pro wrestling game show where you're the contestant.
Give it your best shot, or don't bother shooting at all, man!
Yeah. And as always, best of luck. 25 clues are on the board, and they come from these 5 categories, beginning with unofficial tag team names, followed by a requested category that I've been getting for quite a while now, trivia about Lucha Underground. Our third category is card subject to change. Our fourth category is peaked too early. And the fifth category on the board is always chosen by you, the WrestleTrivia community, on one of our community posts. Your 3 choices were old school announcers, old school territories, or old school villains. And with over 50% of the votes, you all are a bunch of heels. The category will be old school villains.
I'm telling you like it is, baby.
And let's begin our game with some easy questions. It's the 200-point job around. Hopefully you go 5 for 5 here and don't completely embarrass yourself.
Just can it. We don't need your comments.
Exactly.
Here comes the first clue from unofficial tag team names. A fantasy booker's dream, the short-lived Attitude Era tag team of Supply and Demand paired this adult film star with this pimp. Who are Val Venus and The Godfather. Moving on to the second clue of the job around, Ricochet became the first ever Lucha Underground champion as this masked superstar. Who is Prince Puma? Moving on to the first clue from card subject to change, worth 200. This powerful competitor replaced an injured Brutus the Barber Beefcake at the inaugural SummerSlam and quickly dispatched of the Honky Tonk Man to win the Intercontinental Championship. Who is the Ultimate Warrior? Here comes the first clue from wrestlers who peaked too early, worth 200. He made an impact on his very first night in WWE when he defeated John Cena for the United States Championship. Yes, unfortunately, he peaked a little bit too early during the Ruthless Aggression era, and after that, Carlito never achieved the same amount of success on a global level again. And let's finish up the job around with this clue from old school villains, the key antagonist in Hulk Hogan's rise to pop culture ubiquity in the mid-1980s. Look at that big word there, ubiquity. Who is Rowdy Roddy Piper?
We have got access.
Do you think you have what it takes to be a contestant on Wrestling Jeopardy? Well, the only way for you to find out is to make sure you're subscribed to the channel for more information. And we begin the 400-point round now with another clue from unofficial tag team names. This team had multiple unofficial nicknames, including the Brass Ring Club and Team Cat Sorrow. Who are Tyson Kidd and Cesaro? On to Lucha Underground for 400. Swerve Strickland fought his wars alone as this character. Who is Killshot? On to card subject to change for 400. A viral meningitis outbreak forced major last-minute changes to 2017's TLC pay-per-view, including Kurt Angle's return to the ring to team with The Shield, while Finn Balor faced off in a dream match against this superstar. Always be thankful that AJ Styles substituted for a sick Bray Wyatt so he could put over the Demon in one of the most memorable matches of 2017. Once again, here comes wrestlers that peaked too early, this time worth 400. He became the first wrestler in history to win a Royal Rumble and a Money in the Bank match in the same year. In 2011, Vince McMahon saw something in this Mexican star and pushed him into the main event. Who is Alberto Del Rio? And we finish up the 400-point round now with this clue from Old School Villains. He He carved up Bruiser Brody in Texas, stalked Sting in Atlanta, and waged a gory war with the Sheik in Detroit. A renowned villain since the early 1960s, no competitor was ever as savage as Abdullah the Butcher.
This is a savage animal.
Alright, 10 questions down, 15 to go, plus the daily double, a bonus question, and final Jeopardy. Here comes another clue from unofficial tag team names worth 600. This duo plastered the hooligans on their wrestling gear, but were unsuccessful in their attempt to convince WWE management to officially call them by that name. Who are Brian Kendrick and Paul London. On to another clue from Lucha Underground worth 600. Jeff Cobb was this monster of the Cueto family. Who is Matanza? And here comes the third clue of the 600-point round. Showing up a little bit earlier than usual, it's the daily double, which means it's your time to put up or shut up. The category once again is cards subject to change. Place your wager now. Alright, time is up. Here's this episode's daily double clue. After Steve Austin famously took his ball and went home, he took Stone Cold's spot in a King of the Ring qualifying match against Brock Lesnar. Who is Bubba Ray Dudley? Alright, we've passed the halfway point of the game. Here comes the third clue from Wrestlers That Peaked Too Early. She quickly became one of WWE's biggest female superstars, but multiple wellness policy violations, injuries, and other issues led to her downfall. A true talent who will hopefully one day step back into the WWE squared circle. Who is Paige? And let's close out the 600-point round now with this clue from Old School Villains. With nicknames like the Toast of the Coast and the Human Orchid, he's often considered the first major wrestling heel in history. One of the first wrestling superstars to become an American celebrity. Who is Gorgeous George?
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
And let's begin the 800-point round now with another clue from unofficial tag team names. Former NXT commentator Nigel McGuinness would frequently refer to this tag team as the Brick Am Brawlers. Who are Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch? Here's the 800-point clue from Lucha Underground. Chelsea Green spun a deadly web as this dark character. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure you go out of your way, check out Chelsea's match against Penta, when she was the dark character known as Reclusa. Here comes the fourth clue from Cards Subject to Change worth 800. This rising star was pulled from the 2022 NXT Women's Breakout Tournament after suffering a freak injury while training. Who is Nikita Lyons? Alright, here's another chance for you to really ramp up your points. If you answer this question correctly, you will double your score. Who replaced Nikita Lyons in the aforementioned 2022 NXT Women's Breakout Tournament? Although she didn't defeat Roxanne Perez in the finals, it was almost Tiffy time. Who is Tiffany Stratton? On to Wrestlers That Peaked Too Early for 800. When Christian Cage and Sting joined TNA and became the top two babyfaces, it completely derailed this former NFL linebacker's momentum as a potential homegrown superstar. The alpha male Monty Brown was so close to breaking out as a major superstar before things unfortunately fell apart. And here comes the final clue before the 1,000-point main event round, and it's from Old School Villains. In 2011, this unorthodox villain self-published a cookbook that featured a unique assortment of recipes accompanied by the stories of the wrestlers for whom he personally prepared each dish. Ever prepared for such occasions, Ox Baker always carried a hot plate in his travel bag.
You can almost taste it right now. And then I'm looking for the salt and pepper.
How you doing so far? Well, let me know by leaving a comment down below. But this right here, this is the main event. 5 1,000-point questions that are guaranteed to put your wrestling knowledge to the test.
Is that clear?
And we begin with the final clue from unofficial tag team names. Former WCW commentator Jesse the Body Ventura once referred to this tag team as the Texicans. Known as the Godwins and Southern Justice in WWE, prior to that in WCW, their names were Tex Slazenger and Shanghai Pierce. On to the final clue from Lucha Underground, worth 1,000. Thunder Rosa was this queen of the reptiles. And she was called Cobra Moon. On to the final clue from Card Subject to Change. It's worth 1,000. Originally booked as a participant in the Gimmick Battle Royal at WrestleMania 17, he was pulled just before the match began. Having just purchased WCW earlier that week, the WWE snubbed Gillberg for fear of Goldberg chants occupying the Houston Astrodome. Alright, 2 clues remain before Final Jeopardy. Here comes the final clue from wrestlers who peaked too early. At just 25 years old, he won the NWA World title, then lost it 4 days later and never regained national credibility. A title reign that, although brief, is memorable for the fervor it created amongst fans. Who is Wildfire Tommy Rich? And let's close out the board with this final clue from Old School Villains. This wrestler memorably cut his arm open with an axe blade in front of a live Memphis wrestling television audience. Taking what he referred to as a blood oath to take out Jerry the King Lawler, who is the Canadian lumberjack Joe LeDuc. Alright, 26 clues are down and only one separates you from becoming the ultimate WrestleTrivia champion. Let's find out what this episode's Final Jeopardy category is. No purchase necessary. Alright, time is up. Here is your multiple choice Final Jeopardy clue. At the Wrestling Classic pay-per-view in 1985, the WWF gave away what type of luxury automobile to a lucky fan? Was it A, a Bentley Continental, B, a Lincoln Town Car, C, a Mercedes-Benz 500, or D, a Rolls-Royce? You have 15 seconds. Good luck. Now, before I reveal the answer, let's give a quick shout out to these fine folks who are contributing editors / members of this channel, and you can become one too by clicking on the link in the description. Now, wanting to capitalize on the success of the first WrestleMania, Vince McMahon booked a spectacular 16-man tournament featuring wrestlers like Corporal Kirshner and Moondog Spot, along with a sweepstakes giveaway where Michael Hambley, a truck driver from Batavia, Illinois, won a Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud Mark III. And that'll do it for another episode of Wrestling Jeopardy. Thanks again so much for watching. My name is Kevin J. Callis, and I'll see you next time.